In today's video, I'm going to give you 13 good reasons why you may not want to move to Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm getting after it right now. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Greg Spackman with the Living in Salt Lake City channel. And if you want to learn everything about what it's like to eat, sleep, live, and play here in and around Salt Lake City, then you found the right place. Click the little subscribe button and click the little bell to be notified every time I do a new video. We have been getting a ton of people that are relocating here and moving here to the Salt Lake City area, and we love it. So that is our passion, to help people relocate here, because we relocated here and we'd love to help you. So give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email so we can help you get on your way to moving here to Salt Lake City. One on my list is the weather. Do you really want to live with snow? So if you already live in an area where you get snow, then the snow that Utah gets will probably not be a problem. But we get up to 4 feet of snow in a year, not all at once. However, it's scattered. It starts late October, November, and then runs through March or April. However, there will be some times where you get 4 to 6 inches of snow at a time, which will cause the roads to slow down. You have to get the plows out. If you live in a neighborhood where they don't handle the snow removal, then you're going to have to get some sort of snowblower or shovels, or however you want to handle that. Where I live currently, they handle that. They clear our driveway like typically the next morning. However, I have 2 shovels that we bought, which has helped keep the amount of snow we get. Since we've gotten them, we haven't got as much. So I just will go out and clear like the sidewalk and a pathway out to my car. But then once I get out to the main road, then it's actually pretty nice and not very difficult to drive in. However, the summertime, it seems like it lasts forever here. And it can be super hot, like 105, 107, 109 degrees temperature. So if you're not used to heat, we do have that. Typical summer days are 85 to 95 in that range. So they are nice in the summer where you can just sit outside. And since it's dry here, you don't have that humidity that we used to have when we lived in the South, that I absolutely hated. Now I enjoy sitting outside in the evening, just not sitting in the sun directly roasting me. Since Utah ranks as one of the top states for being dry, that means that you're gonna need like chapstick, you're gonna need lotion, you're gonna need sunscreen. And I found a good tip to let everyone know is just to stay really hydrated, since we're at higher altitude and the dryness, sometimes you don't feel like you need to drink, but just keep yourself hydrated and keep those lotions and everything else handy, and you'll probably have no issue really with the weather. Spring and fall are amazing here. Fall gets a little chilly, but not super, super cold. But with the changing of the leaves and stuff, it's incredible. So the winter time, since we get the snow and the dryness, it creates probably some of the best ski and snowboard conditions you can get anywhere. So that may be one of the reasons why you're moving here, is to take advantage of the winter sports. So anyhow, that's number one, weather. The number 2 thing that I hear a lot and that I've seen a lot is that we have really poor drivers here. They don't seem to really know what a turn signal is. So if you're used to that, then that won't be a change for you. However, if you're used to people being pretty courteous and friendly and everything else when they're driving their car, just know that people here are idiots when they drive. And I don't know if they are born here and they're born that way, or they're people that move from elsewhere. Haven't yet figured that out. However, people drive really fast. So you'll notice people driving 100 miles an hour on the freeway, and they're just terrible drivers. I think I mentioned in a previous video, but when we first moved here, I want to say within a week or 2 of being here, we were on this highway called Bangor Highway, and this car missed its turn and did some weird like 360 spin and crashed into the wall. And we weren't able really to get to where they were, but we did call and let the people know. However, we just stupid stuff. You could have just easily went up to the next exit and then turned around. And especially on Bangor, it's super easy to just get off, and then you can get right back on and going the opposite way. So it's not like if you missed your turn, like it's the end of the world and you're going to be driving for 30 minutes. But the drivers here is my number 2 reason. and they are not good drivers. Number three, as you know, I'm a real estate agent. And so the house prices is probably a big reason why you were looking at Utah or you're thinking about moving to Utah. So it depends where you're coming from in the US. If you're coming from like Alabama, North Carolina, some of the other southern states or Midwest states where you can get a really nice home for $300,000 or $400,000, you won't be finding that here in Utah in most areas. Although there are some further outskirt areas where you can pay that much and get something decent. If you're going to want to live around Salt Lake City, which is near all this stuff to do, you're looking more like $450 for a townhome. Maybe you can get a $350 condo, $300 condo, but a single family residence, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, maybe even a 10-bedroom if you got those 20 kids. Those are going to be much higher, probably starting in the 550 range and then going up from there, depending upon how nice you want it and the square footage, and then depending upon which city and location. So just reach out to us so we can help you with that if you're wanting to know some of the stuff with pricing. But that's number three, is just the house prices here. It used to be really affordable to live in Utah. That ship sailed a while ago. And over the last 2 years, as you probably have seen and read about and heard about online, prices have just gone up everywhere. So it's not necessarily Utah is super expensive and everywhere else is super cheap. Just know that that's number three, which is house prices. Number four reason you may not want to live here in Utah is there are a ton, and by a ton, I mean a ton of kids. Utah continually ranks as either number one, number two, number three in the nation as far as birth rates. So there are a ton of kids here. So if being around a lot of kids or having a lot of kids around, then know that lots of Salt Lake City area is probably not for you. There are cities that have less, I guess, less amount, just the closer you get to Salt Lake City where it gets more walkable, that sort of thing. There's probably less kids. However, there are a lot of children that live in Utah. So, and that's number four on the list. Number five on the list is the lack of a real nightlife, real downtown and bars and nightclubs, everything to do with that sort of thing. They've added more and more over the last few years, and I think we'll keep growing that direction. Just know that if you're used to, say you've been to downtown Nashville, where you've been to that Broadway, you know that there's like 100 bars there. We don't have that. We don't have some of the other stuff like what Chicago and New York have as far as nightlife and clubs and that sort of thing. We do have some, so you will be able to experience that and have fun with that. Just know there just aren't as many as you could find in other cities. So that was number five, was lack of nightlife and bars. Number six is the high cost of rent here in Utah. Know that just a cheap 1-bedroom apartment in a lot of areas is going to run you $1,500 plus a month. They tack on some sort of technology fee. They gouge you with a parking fee, and then you can pay for a covered parking spot. And then they have underground parking, so your car's totally out of the weather. Just know that as far as apartments go and that cost, it's not cheap to get an apartment here. You're looking at, like I said, somewhere around $1,500 in most places. You'll be able to find some that are $1,200, $1,300 for 1-bedrooms, but the average seems to be somewhere around $1,500 for a 1-bedroom. And home rentals, if you're looking to rent something, they are crazy too. So it's almost, until just recently, it was much more affordable for you to buy a home than it was to rent. Now it's evening out. It's probably a little bit more expensive to buy a home than to rent, but then renting, you're not getting any equity. So if you say rented for 5 years versus buying for 5 years, you'd come out a lot better off. Usually owning a home, because of that principal payment that goes towards the principal amount of your payment would kind of gives you like that forced savings that you wouldn't have with a rental. Number 7 is on my list is the air quality here. And while you'd think Utah would have super fresh air and that you'd love that and everything else, but during the winter time, we have this thing called the inversion layer, which you may or may not have heard about, but it's where the cold air gets trapped by the warm air. And so it causes this unhealthy air quality that you can see. And I don't know, it's kind of gross, but It just means we don't have great air quality. So if you have asthma or anything else, please make sure that you are aware of what air quality we do have. And it seems like in the summertime, California blows all their smoke from all their fires that they seem to get every year towards us. So we get a week or two here or there where, it's you can't really see the mountains and it's just not great. Dog is still barking. All right, he just finished barking. Number 8 is if you want traffic to move fast, then you want to drive not during the rush hour. However, traffic other times of the day is not really bad here. We do get a rush hour traffic, and going west to east, there isn't really a freeway structure set up for going west to east. You're just driving on surface roads. We're pretty much taking like I-15 or Bangor or Mountain View corridor or I-215, but you're just not there. They don't have a great setup for going west to east. And the nice thing is that traffic is pretty predictable. So if you find out that your commute is 25 minutes, it's usually about 25 minutes every day, give or take a minute or two. And then, of course, you're going to have differences in time when there's an accident, which you can't really control how long that's going to make you take. Sometimes you could be an hour for an accident, and other times it's super quick to get through. So traffic was number 8 on the list. I don't feel traffic is like a huge downer here because it's not awful like it is in Los Angeles or Dallas or Phoenix, any of the major city, or heck, even try to drive from Manhattan out to Brooklyn or something else. So I drive east and it's awful. We don't have that sort of traffic. We do have traffic. So after you've been here and been acclimated, then it does bother you. But it's nothing like other parts of the country for traffic. Number 9 on the list is the liquor laws here. And as you find, if you like to drink, make sure that you buy your alcohol from the state-run liquor stores, because you're not going to be buying much other than some beer from the grocery store. You're going to need to go to the state-run store. Those are not open on Sundays. So make sure that you plan ahead if you want to have a party, or else you're not going to be going anywhere to get anything on a Sunday. We were just eating the other night at a restaurant, and I asked the waiter why they don't make drinks at the bar, because it didn't make any sense to me why they have this bar that you could sit at and there's no bartender there. They were around the corner. Well, they have something called the Iron Curtain here. And the way it was explained to me was the children have to be a certain distance from that bartender. So if they are within that distance, then the children can't eat there. And they would rather have the children, families, be able to eat in the bar area. So they just move where they mix the drinks at to a different location that's around within that distance. And then that solves that issue. So it seems kind of weird to call it a bar when it's not really the bar that you're used to going to, where you can sit at it and they pour you your beer or, mix you your drink and then hand it to you. They bring it to you. So you can still get your drinks. You just get it differently. You'll just see that. So they have some different things with liquor. We have the 0.05 for the blood alcohol content level. So know that is probably, I believe that's the worst in the nation, or lowest in the nation. So don't drink and drive here in Utah. It's not the state to do that in. Just take an Uber or Lyft or have somebody drive for you. Number 10 on my list, and I normally don't talk much about crime. Utah is, from what I've seen online and researching, it's one of the safest areas in the country for most crime levels. However, theft here seems to be really high. And I'm guessing that that's just due to all the families and due to the trusting nature of people. So they'll leave their bikes and skateboards and other things in their front yard thinking that nothing's going to happen to it, because why would somebody take that? So just know that that's probably the major reason of why, is that people are just trusting of others. And so that sort of theft is higher. They also have the people that will walk the neighborhood and lift door handles of cars and then take what's inside the car. So don't leave any valuables in your car. Definitely do not leave a backpack in your car unless you want your window to be broken. That's another easy thing to have happen to you. So crime here overall, you can research that online. So I don't normally talk much about crime, but it seems like we're ranked really well in a safe area from what stuff I can see online. Number 11 on my list is probably one of my least favorites, and that's the street numbering system here. Although people seem to really like it when it's 500 north by 500 east, it makes no sense to me. I would much rather the street name be named Broadway or, the such and such boulevard, so that when I'm driving on the roads and it says like 11,200, well, I still can't figure out which street is the one that I need to get off, other than I know that it's something around this number, where if it was the name, I just have that memorized. I know that people say you get used to it and then you figure it out, and you know that it's related to which temple is closest by, so that when you do the distance, you have that mapped out. But for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So you can let me know what you think of the street numbering system if you're watching this from Utah. However, if you're moving here, just know that it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Fortunately, you're going to use your Google or Apple Maps, so they don't seem to have much issue with the street numbering. Number 12 on my list is the businesses that are closed on Sundays. So you're going to find that there are a bunch of different businesses that are closed on Sunday. However, the grocery stores and gas and a bunch of things will be open on Sunday. So just know, like, for instance, when we go shopping on Sunday, about half the people aren't out shopping. So it's a better day to shop because less people are out. And they did it. However, some of the grocery stores will run out of things because people shopped Saturday and just bought out. Like half the time we go try to get pasta, they'll be out of a bunch of different pastas. Like sometimes it's a pain in the butt to get bow tie pasta, where normally it wouldn't be if I went a different day. So just know that certain businesses are closed on Sundays, and you may like that or you may not. You won't be able to buy a car on Sunday anywhere because they just don't sell cars on Sunday. So that was an interesting thing for us to find out when we moved here. We couldn't go look at cars on Sunday. And number 13, and the last thing my reasons why not to move to Salt Lake City, would be that there are too many Mormons here, and everyone here is a member of the church. And do I have to be a member of the church to live here? Well, I can tell you that you don't have to be. There's about 50% or less than 50% of the people are Mormon here. So you're going to have plenty of people that aren't Mormon that you will have. I still get asked if I'm Mormon, and that's why we moved to Utah. Just know that it's not a prerequisite for you to live here in Utah or move here, or it's going to be any sort of problem. Now, if you do move to some of the small towns that are out in the middle of nowhere, that could be a different story. Just do your research ahead of time about knowing about the city, and you can ask us some of that, and we can see what we can help you with. But overall, those are the 13 reasons why I would not want you to move to Utah. So if those are some big problems and you can't live with those, then Utah isn't the place for you. However, if those are the places, then please reach out to me. We would love to help you. My number is available here. Shoot me a text, send me an email, give me a call. I can help you narrow down that perfect location of where you'd want to live here in the Salt Lake City area. Thank you for watching.